Hello.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited about this. This is our first interview on YouTube or any type of thing like this, so we're excited.
Congratulations, and we're honored to have you guys as your first interview.
Yeah.
We're honored. We're gonna go ahead and get started with a little bio about Vasquez Vintage. Who are they? So they are a married couple of creatives based out of Seattle, Washington. On their everyday agenda, week, month, and year, it is to evolve, learn, create, and share knowledge. They believe in living life on their own terms. They own multiple businesses, and they get to do that in their businesses, which is wonderful. So to begin with, Melissa Vasquez, she's a full-time e-commerce small business owner and reseller at Vasquez Vintage. Washington State born and raised, she has an extensive background in operations management, learning anything and everything. Responsibilities include treasure hunting, listing, shipping, accounting, photography, hiring, data analysis, and managing Vasquez Vintage's online presence. Melissa most days can be caught drinking a strong cup of coffee while doing an in-depth analysis of all of their businesses and planning what's coming next. A little bit about Abby Vasquez. She's originally from Arkansas. She's a professional tarot reader, an industrial designer, a candle maker, and an avid learner. She's known to make even the most serious person laugh.
It's been known to happen.
We're laughing right now. Abby heads up, is it RE? Is that how you say the name of your candle company? Re Candles, their repurposed container candle business, and helps their reselling business part-time as a picker.
Yep.
And so we're just going to let you guys continue on the rest there.
Yeah.
All right. So to begin, when did you learn about buying and selling things online?
I feel like it was literally like February of 2018, and then March after that. But you have the story about how you got started with that grinder thing.
Oh gosh.
So yeah. She actually got us into it, and just on a whim.
Yeah, we've been listening to Gary Vee forever.
Yeah.
And he had been talking a lot about flipping and, just grab something and flip it and see what happens. And then I'm sitting on the sofa, she's sitting on her chair, and we just look at each other like, I want to try that. Mm-hmm. And so we end up going to our thrift store, which is like really close to us, like a block and a half down the road. And I found a cast iron meat grinder. And that's one thing I picked. I'm going to flip that. And I don't even know if you had picked anything out at the time.
I was looking at everything. There's so much stuff.
But I had thrown it up on Facebook Marketplace and immediately got offers for like $20, $20. And I sold it within like a day and a half, and she was sold. Like, we're doing this now. Like, that is what we're doing.
You know that high. It's like, what? Wait, let's go find more.
That first sale, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
how much did you pay for that grinder?
Oh, gosh. I mean, between $3 and $5. Like, it wasn't a whole lot, thankfully, and I had no clue how to price it, so it was just like, $20 sounds good, maybe. I don't even know if all the parts are here. I don't know if it works. I just like picked it up and like, I'm gonna sell this.
This is old. This is vintage. So yeah.
And then it actually moved. It moved quickly, and it was surprising. Right. So it's fun.
Definitely.
So like, when abouts was that in your journey? You said it was in
March of 2018. So.
Okay. So you're about a year and a half, almost 2 years into it now?
Yeah. So still fairly new. That's why we always talk about, kind of documenting our journey and just kind of, as we learn, just sharing it, because I feel like we can all learn from it. But we definitely aren't, we're professional, but we're still learning at all times. And I'm sure you guys know how much there is to learn. Like, we never will know everything. So we're just kind of showing and telling as we go, type of thing.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, how did you get into like the vintage aspect of it?
I gravitated towards it. So it's just, I like the things that are made from past because they seem to be made better. They're more heavy duty, they last longer. So I liked the feel of everything and the way it just lasts. So that was the main thing. And then I've always loved like vintage electronics, and I'm a big like Sony, Panasonic person. And so we just kind of gravitated towards those things because we liked them. And then vintage toys is my favorite thing. I'm sure you guys have seen like the plushies and the little toys and stuff. So it's just a way to kind of go back in time into my childhood even, and just so that's what keeps it fun.
Yeah, there's something to be said about nostalgia
Yeah.
and being able to trigger those memories in other people. Like, oh my gosh, I remember when, and then you have this whole flashback in memory and warm fuzzy feelings. So it's kind of awesome to be able to provide that to other people as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool because everything is like nowadays so accessible.
Absolutely.
But you know, when it comes to like the old school way, we didn't need to depend on technology so much. So
Absolutely.
just having those items are so cool. Sometimes we would buy things and we would want to hold on to it, not sell them.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It happens.
I still go through that. Or like I collect globes right now, which I never did before, but since reselling, I've loved globes, like the really older ones or the heavy duty ones with like brass pieces and stuff like that. So some of them I'll actually keep now, unfortunately, but other ones I'll post it and just love them until they sell, type of thing. So it's like it's kind of like that. So I get it.
Those kind of items, you're like, oh, I don't mind pricing them high because like if nobody buys it, I'll just keep it.
Just love it and pet it until it finds a new home.
I get that, definitely.
So we know that you're doing a few things. We've heard about the candles. Maybe you can give our followers a little bit of background about each of the things you're doing.
Yeah, so our main thing that we're doing is reselling. So I do this full time. She does it part time with us, or with myself and our son, who also likes to resell. And in addition, we do our candles. So that kind of is a spin-off of our different finds that we go when we go to garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores. We find all these different things that we thought, well, we can make a candle out of that. I don't remember how it started as far as the idea of it, but we love, like I've always been into sustainability and reusing things and finding a purpose for things instead of just being so wasteful generally as a human. So it was another way of kind of like being able to do that. And we found like teacups and all kinds of little copper containers and mugs and things where it's like, what if we made a candle out of that? It's a great gift, or like a home decor. And then when it's all done with, you can still use it. So if you love that item, you can still use it as a teacup or a mug or things like that. So
yeah, it also satisfies my perpetual need to make things. Like
maker.
my degree is in industrial design, so I design products from the ground up. And with that comes like the perpetual desire to create and make and then design and think through things. And so finding these containers and wanting to make something out of them, it just kind of feeds that natural inclination in me already. So it's just like, let's run with it and actually kind of morph it into something that's directly tied to the business and produced a repurposed candle of sorts.
I mean, that certainly gives you an edge because I guess like what we've heard is if it's unique, it'll sell.
Yeah.
The more unique, the better. And it sounds like your candles are, every single one is different.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be rare to make the same one twice.
It is not likely I'll make the same one twice. And it's kind of good and bad because I would love to have like a standardized process that I could deploy on each and every item, but it's not practical to even think that way. So it's just every product or every mug gets its own volume amount of wax. Everyone gets its own volume amount of fragrance, gets its own wick, gets its own cut, gets its own packaging, gets its own... these are all one-off products that are produced, and it's fun and it's challenging because I would love a standardized process.
Yeah, definitely. But it seems like what we do is anything but that, right?
Right.
Like anything but that.
Yeah.
Of course, you have Melissa though, who it seems like that's her strength. Yes. Right, in operations and inventory.
Yeah, I definitely love to try to make anything like systemized and process, some type of process for it. Or just know our whys for everything. So I'm just big on, we're Tony Robbins, like we love him and people like that. So people that just help us do things that are straightforward and have a process and have a why. So just understanding why we do something instead of just blindly going forward. But, we're big on like action and massive action. But in addition, knowing our why and how and being able to replicate it again. So
it's wonderful that you're saying that because you guys are all everything you say, everything you do online through your social media accounts, it's all in line. Like I like you're in line with your brand, and the massive action comment it represents you guys on social media. So like
thank
one
you.
of the reasons we actually recently only started following you guys a few months ago.
Okay.
But I've been personally keeping I'm the one behind the social media here.
Yeah.
Close eye on you guys.
Right.
And the content that you guys put out is invaluable to, I think, any reseller. And you're so
Awesome.
humble to say like, oh, we're just beginning, we're just learning, because, and we're just documenting our journey. And no doubt, there's always a lot to learn, especially when you guys are avid learners yourselves.
Yeah.
But the content, like from having found that one product, that you flipped from $45 to $20.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking at most of your products are like over $40-$50 a piece. So
Right.
I feel like you guys know what you're doing now.
I mean, thank you. That's a great compliment, and I appreciate it. And our goal is, again, just to get better and to learn more, and also just to be able to share that, because over time we can all get better. So the great part, and I'm sure you two understand this, is just how great and how strong the reselling community is. And it's amazing. I've never been a part of such a community. I've always been a part of things where we're competing against each other. I'm trying to get the upper edge on the competition. So it's nice to be able to be like, I mean, I look forward to being like some of the ones that are huge, but it's not a competition. It's like there's enough for everybody. Look around us. There's so much stuff that you're never going to be able to like own everything. So
there is enough. There is enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny when you walk into a thrift store and you can kind of almost feel like the piranha mentality and the scavenger mindset of the other resellers, because you can spot them. You can see who's also a reseller. And it's so nice once you finally get into a space of realizing, oh my God, there's enough. It's okay, everyone. We can all share here.
Right.
So it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about platforms, because I know you sell a variety of items. Are there any specific platforms that are good for specific items, or do you sell everything on all platforms?
Yeah, so eBay is great for everything, right? New, used. We don't do Amazon yet, but it's in our future as a possibility. I'm hesitant, but maybe that's one of those things where, since it scares me, I should jump right into it. But we're not there yet. But we do sell on like Etsy, and Etsy is hopefully everybody knows you can sell handmade items and or vintage items. So anything right now before 2000, right? So 1999 and before is considered vintage on Etsy. So you can sell anything within that time frame on Etsy. Collectible things do great there. We do well with like toys and stuff on Etsy too. So actually like vintage plush and things like that. Kermit the Frog sold for $200. The hand puppet $220 or something like that. That's on our Instagrams and stuff like that. But I'd say anything vintage or collectible, go and try Etsy. Mercari's been great for toys also. So we sell on Mercari as well, and shoes. And then we sell on Poshmark as well. And I've noticed for us, we've kind of cornered in on shoes because of the fact that they flip so easily and so fast on there, men's and women's. I'd love to hear what other people think about Poshmark, but that's our experience so far. And then we sell locally, and I noticed that locally, like appliances, sports things, like bats. We got into bats a lot, baseball bats and gloves. They sell well on multiple platforms, but definitely locally you can flip those, or we're able to flip them within like 7 days to 2 weeks or something like that. So those are the main platforms we're on. We just had a sale on Bonanza. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bonanza.
No, what's Bonanza?
So you're able to kind of import everything that you have on eBay to Bonanza. So it's kind of like you don't have to do anything more than that. You import it, and then it's kind of just set it and forget it. It's one of the few things where you can do that, literally. But we'll get like one sale every 6 months. So I wouldn't say like everybody run over there and do it. But we got one yesterday, and it was a plush, like animated Gund brand elephant, and it sold for full price of like $23 or something. But we're on there, but I wouldn't, it's a slow mover.
Wow. There you go. We're live on Instagram, so we just kind of see if people have any questions.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Based off of what you said, so Bonanza sounds like it's a platform that you sell a couple items a year on.
Yeah.
But because it's so easy to just like push a button and transfer everything over, it's a contender, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of that, we just about 6 months ago we got onto Sideline Swap, and you may have seen a couple of our posts about it. I just thought, most of us that sell on eBay have some items that can go on there. So they are kind of a sports centric website, but they have an import feature where you can just, again, set up an account and just import all of your goods onto there that apply. So for them, it's sports related, but I noticed that anything like Adidas, Nike, and lacrosse, like anything that's even slightly related. It was like a Nike t-shirt. I noticed they uploaded that. I was like, awesome. So,
I'll take that.
so it's not just like literally like having bats and things like that, but anything that's sports related will automatically import. And I don't know, a couple sales, I'd say about 2 a week usually on Sideline Swap. So most of us could definitely use an extra couple sales a week or a month even. So it's worth a try, and it's free to sign up. So it's I don't get any like benefit from talking about that, except that I like to share what is available. So Sideline Swap is the name of that one.
So interesting. It seems like there are so many platforms.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of everything?
Yeah, how do you-
obsess. Obsess over it every day. No, but mostly it's just, I mean, since it is my full-time income and my full-time job, it's literally like what I do when I wake up as we're looking at everything. And I look at dashboards. So the first thing that I look at on the computer is like the eBay seller dashboard. So just knowing my numbers, knowing who's emailing us and things like that. So it's just kind of being in it every day mostly. So
Yeah, a question about that, Melissa. So we learned earlier, from Abby's story that, she kind of got you guys into this, right? So
yeah.
Well, thank
first
you.
of all, thank you, Abby, right? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Abby.
Yes.
But the question is, like, how did you go from, having watched this thing on Gary Vee, which, that's actually how we got into it as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Gary.
What is it? Trash
Trash
talk?
talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so how did you go from that to quitting your full-time job and making this your full-time job?
Yeah, so again, we started in March of 2018, and I quit in September of 2018. So it was actually a really quick decision in relation to time. I was working at a pair of veterinary clinics here locally, and I was doing their like purchasing for like medical equipment and things like that, and their inventory management. So everything from the dog food and cat food to the medicines and the controlled substances and things like that. So I loved it. I love the people. I'm still friends with them now. There was just a lot going on there behind the scenes, and I was just I was burnt out, and I didn't feel fulfilled. I wanted to do things that align with our goals, to do things on our own terms. And although that job gave me a lot of freedom because I was able to do what I wanted when I wanted, it was just like, it's just not, I'm not fulfilled. I want more. What is it though? And I couldn't think of a job that would do it. But we loved reselling, and I was like, that was the thing. Like right after work, we'd hit up the thrift stores. We live right in between two of them.
Yeah.
It was like, at night, I was getting only like 4 hours of sleep because I was doing reselling from the time I got home. I'm like, hi, Jadis, what do you, I'll talk to him about his life. We eat dinner. He goes to bed. I was reselling till 2, 3 a.m. and then I got to get up and go to work. So it was like, that's what I'm willing to sacrifice for. Then how do I do that full time? One thing I will say though is that if I were to do it again, I think I would have saved more and planned a little bit better. I just jumped in, but it's kind of our motto to just massive action.
Do
but
it.
I could have planned a little bit better. So the first few months after that was hard. Not having a steady income is hard. I've done it. I grew up in a different way, so I definitely knew how to make things work. But we were used to having a decently plush life, So
I feel like it was more of the psychology behind it, though,
Yeah,
because
the
there's
mindset.
something, it's a complete mindset of knowing that you're going to be paid every 2 weeks, and this is the expectation that you've grown up on.
Mhm.
And so now you're shifting it to like, okay, smaller amounts every day.
Yeah.
I don't understand, like, oh, this thing amount showed up. How does that plan out for the rest of the month? It doesn't quite correlate. So your whole method around like your own sanity, your own like financial safety, your own financial security, health insurance, all those things have to shift, and it messes with your brain for a little while and your emotions as you're trying to figure it all out. But I feel like we at least now we finally got there.
Yeah. So I would say the first quarter after that. So what was interesting about that, sorry to back up a little bit, September was when I was done. Then we go into Q4, right? So the expectations are a little bit different too, because it's like, well, everything's selling, so that's awesome, you know. And then you get through those few months. It was great. Then January, February, March, and it definitely dried up a little bit. So we were selling, but not on the scale that you do in Q4. And then you have money tied up, and so we didn't have the capital right away to buy how we should. So again, just to kind of be blatant so everybody understands that it is one of those things that if you can plan for or know what your budget is, know how much healthcare costs, things like that, is it may be on you unless you have like a partner that has it to cover you. These are things that you have to understand that it has to be in your budget. So, but anyway, so I think that the last 8 months, I would say, that we've hit our stride. We know what our numbers are. I know where I need to buy things, what I need to buy for, what my ASP is, things like that. So it's like once you really know and execute, then you have a full-time job at the very least. Goal is to have an empire of businesses, but right now for sure got a full-time job. So that's what I'd say at the moment.
Yeah, you're definitely working your way up there with all the businesses that you guys are able to handle right now between you three, right?
Yeah.
Your son Jadis too.
Yeah. Do you mind if he says hello? He would love to
Not
be
at
part
all,
of it.
yeah.
Come over here, Jay. He's on Instagram sometimes, so people have seen him. Do you want to say?
Yeah, we've definitely seen him. Hi, Jadis. How are you?
Good.
How do you like the reselling business?
It's fun, and I like how you get to learn how to make money with tape. Learn how to make money without having a job. But it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the advantage you have
Yeah.
to be such a young person and know how to make money. What a gift, you know, you've been given by your parents.
I feel like we're winning. Like as parents, we are winning.
Team 3. What kind of stuff do you like to sell, Jaden?
Ooh, mainly vintage electronics because they're
Oh.
cool, and I wasn't in that era. And I like when something is like broke, I look it up and see if I can fix it. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Then end up seeing that I can sell it for parts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
What was like the coolest thing you've found so far?
Ooh, recently, it was a Sanyo product, Betamax tape player.
Yeah.
It works. I just can't get video.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it's the tapes or the outlet, but we're still selling it for about $100.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what's been your best flip?
You've had some good ones.
Yeah, you have.
Ooh, my first thing I ever sold on eBay, we found on the side of the road. It was a Panasonic boombox, and apparently they're really rare. That was the one I found, and I sold it for over $200.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
That
There's
was
no
our
cost at all.
Wow. So, like, are you going to start your own, like, YouTube or Instagram channel, or do you have one already?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
He doesn't have a
No,
phone
no.
yet, so we're
Oh,
kind of
gotcha.
old school with technology. So as far as him having it, but I assume that he'll have his own stuff soon enough.
Yeah.
He's 13 right now. Give him a little time, but
Exactly.
Sorry, I don't know. We don't have kids, so.
Oh, okay. I'm like, no phone
Sorry
yet.
about that. But definitely, you know, any child that's watching right now is going to be super impressed by what you're doing and inspired to maybe go out and do the same. So thank you so much for sharing that. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's also really cool because it's rare to see, I would say, your Gen Z or even another generation, even later, talking about,
Mhm.
you know, vintage things and how like Betamax works. It's almost like it doesn't match. Like, really? You're talking about that?
See?
How do you know this stuff?
No, it's definitely
So
fun
cool.
and funny when we're sitting on the floor trying to test a product out, and he's like, "What is this button?" I'm like, "Okay, hun, hold on, wait. This is how it works."
Right, back in the day, we had to rewind and wait.
Wow.
So that sound is normal. That is what's supposed to happen. So it's also just amazing and fun to share technology that was out when I was like a little person. He wasn't even thought of then. And it's just like, okay, so I remember my mom having one of these back in the day. So this is how it works, hon. And giving him that experience. So it's like sharing these stories, this culture, this history with my kiddo. So.
But we're
Yeah,
proud of him. We're
Keep
proud
doing
of
what
him.
you're doing, Jadis. Keep changing the world
All right, man.
for the better.
Yes, good job.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for letting him come in. He was waiting for that.
Yes, he was.
Oh my goodness, what a pleasant surprise. He's a mini you. Definitely part of the business.
Yes.
Definitely. Definitely.
So what are some of the challenges? You've been selling for a year and a half now. What are the key challenges? This is a question I always ask because I think it's valuable for our listeners and also us.
Yeah. I would say the balance, which is one of those words that it irritates me sometimes, but the balance of, self-care and hustling hard, because you do have to, I believe, to succeed in this, you have to hustle, you have to keep learning, keep going. Taking the backseat and chilling out is not going to ultimately lead to the success that you like envisioned. So I'd say, like, for me, I struggle with getting enough sleep. So I'll make sure, we're big juicers. I take care of my health. I take care of, oh, you are too? I do, we make sure we get our daily walks in. Like, I feel like we do a lot of personal development, but man, I will let that sleep just slide. I'll do 4 or 5 hours instead of my 7 or 8. And so that's, I think, some type of balance. And, we're parents, so you got to make sure you take care of your children and your dogs or whatever you have, So I think that's a big challenge. What's one that you've seen?
We both have things that we'll let go, like the moment things get tense. And so, like, for her, it's sleep. And for me, it's like monitoring my diet or my exercise. So it's like, I love going to the gym. I like running. I like those things. But like, we have an art project that we're participating in, and I'm in full make mode. So because I'm making, I've stopped going to the gym. And so I know that one of the things that I challenge and struggle with is still maintaining not a balance so much, but an integration, making it a non-negotiable part of my life instead of an option. Like, oh, I can let this go. Like, this needs to be a integrated part of my life.
Yeah. So definitely, like, taking care of self, I would say, would be one. Also a challenge, I suppose, people just knowing what to buy. So that takes, as far as in the reselling life, I think that takes research and trial and error. Like, I've sold a lot of things where I accidentally paid someone to take it from me instead of making a profit. Like, it happens over time. Or, how another challenge would be learning how to ship things. So outside of clothing, it's a whole, like, university of how to ship correctly, and how to still be profitable and not pay, overpay. So for shipping. But what about you guys, as far as, like, what do you think is a big challenge or obstacle in reselling?
I mean, definitely self-care. I think maybe that applies to all resellers. Because it's almost like no matter you're full-time or half-time, part-time, it's like on weekends, you got to hustle because people are having garage sales.
Yes.
And so definitely the balance of taking care of yourself, eating well, getting enough sleep, or even giving up, like, your social time with your friends or family, right? That's a big part.
Yeah.
Shipping, I definitely am on the same page as you. I've made so many mistakes. I've broken so many things from packaging things wrong. But you know what? It's experience, and you get there.
Yeah, definitely the important thing is you learn from it. It's really funny, when we first started, you're not going to believe this. We would sell like a beautiful vintage cup, and we didn't know better when it came to shipping, so we, like, literally took an envelope and put the cup in the envelope and shipped it off. I know.
I'm so sorry.
Honestly, it arrived in like 100 or 1,000,000 pieces when I got there.
It hurts, but you learn, right?
really basic. Like, we had no idea what we're doing. We did it for a year, and we managed to pay off a brand new backyard that we built in our new home. So, like, we literally think if we could do it, you can do it, like, based on that example, right?
Yeah.
How about you guys? Like, do you feel that anyone can do this job? Or, like, what does it take to be successful in doing it?
Yeah, so I think that anyone can do this, like, sell things. I think that not everyone can do it full time. And that's because I believe that there's different types of people. Not everyone is meant to work for themselves. It takes a certain amount of motivation, and it's okay to understand that. It's okay to have other things you have going on in life and have a job or a career or whatever and still do this. So it's kind of fun. You can, like you said, you can pay off debt. A lot of people have student debt or debt of all kinds, right? You can have nicer things or go on vacations and stuff. So it's not ultimately only for full time. There's all kinds of things you can do along the way. So I do think anyone can sell things. I just think there's a little caveat there. What do you think?
I definitely think you need a certain mindset and a certain tolerance for risk and
There you go.
instability. Because if you're the type that like the moment anything starts to shake, you fall apart at the seams, then it wouldn't be best if you made this like your sole situation. But if you do have some tolerance and you do have some thick skin and you're not taking everything to heart, every terrible thing to heart, you'd probably be okay. So with everything, it's not one size fits all, but I can see how a lot of people very well could.
Definitely.
Yeah. So Abby, are you even considering leaving your job or doing this full time at all? Or
well, darling, I I talk about it like the work that I was doing prior to being to helping with being a reseller. I was a full-time designer and I was leading the design for a local startup company. And I kind of talk about it like the owner broke up with me, but she also broke up with the business on a whole. So she closed the business. So because she closed the business, the other thing was selling. Like, let's just dive into that instead of me working so hard to find another secular job is kind of how we think of it. And that worked out. It's working out for us because ultimately the main goal, the big goal is to live a life on our own terms. So me going to work for another employer is not in alignment with that. So we've decided to go ahead and spend full-time energy on my tarot practice and on the candles and helping her with the logistics of getting to X, Y, and Z, and to sourcing and to picking and to all the other ins and outs that you need the other hands for.
Absolutely.
And also the fact that I have a big design background, it pays for all of the design work, the graphic work, the product, the fixing, the making aspects of my education is wildly useful with being a reseller. So that whole transition of working for somebody else to working exclusively for us is worth its weight in gold.
So we definitely right now we're entrepreneurs, so there's no like secular job in this household right now. It's all hustle. It's all hustle.
Wow, that is very impressive. Congratulations on becoming self-employed, Abby.
Yay!
So you guys are you're a teacher, Marina?
I am, yeah. I teach English as a second language, and I'm a part-time teacher, so I have a lot of like days off where there's no school or like winter, summer breaks, and I also just like to. I'm like you guys. I love learning, and I like to dip my hands in different things. So actually, I was studying computer or web programming. Last a year ago, and I was in the room in my office like 12 hours a day, and I would never see Michelle. Like, it'd be the weekend and I'd be in the office. She would be like, hey, when am I going to see you? So I decided to quit doing that to the extent that I was doing it, and I we decided to take up this hobby.
Awesome.
Right, and it's something that we could like do together, spend time together, and so now we spend a lot of time together. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen on a day-to-day basis. As I'm sure that you guys have to do the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, we just found out the hours that we put in a day, like what we came up to, like it's almost 100-hour work weeks if we think about it like that. And there is no way that any other like couple could both work 100-hour work weeks and still have a really good relationship. So it's actually really nice.
That we do it together.
Do it together, because otherwise it's like, what life do you have? What life do I have?
It's totally separate otherwise. So that's great to see that you guys were able to figure something out where you can do something together like that and still make money. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I work full time, so I'm in marketing.
Oh, okay.
So I work with a lot of designers too, so we kind of have that commonality.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's nice to have like a stable income as well. But definitely Marina is sort of the lead on the business. I always say she's like the thinker and the doer. So I would go home and package items, and I just need to execute, and she's just like, I know what to do. This is the strategy.
That's this one. I'm very much the doer. You give me a mission, it's done. It's not even a question. But planning the thing, I'm like, maybe kind of, probably. But she's like, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. I'm like, all right, now I can run off on my mission.
Well, you got the perfect setup then. I think that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys do too. It's amazing.
All right. I think we need to work together more. This is interesting mindsets that we have going on here.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I mean, you gotta
Awesome to see
balance
that.
each other out. You can't both be thinkers.
True.
Right?
That's true.
That's a whole lot of thinking. What would get done? And nothing would get done.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. So what's the biggest split for you guys?
You know, I wish I had like one of those like $3,000 auctions or something. Unfortunately, I don't have that, but I think your item was the highest.
Oh, was
Harry
it
Potter?
Oh, geez. I found a 118 disc Harry Potter voiceover.
Was it UK?
Yeah, it was a UK box of like audiobooks. It was like the whole Harry Potter series, 118 disc, and I think it was voiced by Stephen Fry. And so it was just something that was niched, very specific, and we flipped it for almost like $350, and sold internationally, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I bought it for like 12 something over at Value Village. Like I was impressed. And I've never found it again. I don't know if I will, but it was just I knew enough to like, that is amazing. Stephen Fry is a good voice. Let's look this up. And then sitting on the sofas in the furniture section freaking out a little bit because it's like, look, babe, look.
I know. I'm like, wow, all right. But again,
So on that one, you didn't know the value when you bought it?
Yeah, no, not right away. But it was a mixture of like, I know the cult following when it comes to Harry Potter, like, you know, that hands down.
Yeah.
And then it was something unusual in high volume. So 118 CDs, like that's a little intense. And it's Stephen Fry is a well-known actor, particularly overseas. So it's just like 1 + 1 + 1 = 19 and a half. So I'm totally taking this. And then we found out that it was actually worth more than we thought it was.
Yeah.
So that was an awesome one for us.
Yeah. Otherwise, we just had like a baseball bat. So again, last summer I was really into finding them for $3.99 or whatever and flipping those. And we found a Easton Redline bat, and the adult size ones of those go for really good money. And I just happened to find it was like $5.99, and I was like, babe. I was like, look at these comps. Again, by then we know how to look up things and everything. And I was like, it says it's worth like $500, $600. So I was like, I'm going to get it. Like,
that's when you like walk out the store and you hope nobody like takes it from you because it's like, I found something amazing. Don't look at me.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm getting away with something even still. But I mean, they priced it, so I'm going to buy it. But anyway.
That's part of the high and the addiction that comes out of doing this, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But and I posted it locally and on eBay, and we had some watchers and some offers. But ultimately we actually met up locally. It was on OfferUp, and we got $350 for it.
Wow.
It was a weird situation because I've never sold something worth that much locally. So I was like, there's risks involved with local reselling. And I try to talk about that too. Like, make sure you bring somebody with you. Make sure you're at a public place. You can go to a police station, or we would go to this gas station up here where we know the guy that works there. So he always kind of looks out for us anyway. So especially in the summer, we were there like every day, multiple times a day.
Wow.
Selling things. So he knows what we're doing, so be safe. But anyway, we met this guy, and 3 people jumped out of the car. But they're a little short guys, so I'm looking like, okay.
I'm like, I don't want to do this. I mean, but yes.
But they had like baseball gear on and everything, so I was like, oh, like
baseball
full on cleats and everything. So
They're
like,
on their way to the game.
yeah, they were probably nervous as well, so they brought a friend just in case we were the scammers. So ultimately, it all worked out. And again, this is $350 cash, so it's like, you know, it was a little nerve-wracking.
Legit, everybody was nervous. Like, you could tell the 3 of them were nervous. We're all like, who's going to get who, just in case. Like, you don't want to think that way, but like, you really want to actually prepare yourself just in case you have to go and tackle somebody into, you know, a gas station or what have you. But luckily, everything was fine. I counted the cash. We left because we were all nervous.
So yeah, I think those are our biggest ones. And again, not thousands, but definitely just as exciting for sure. Sure.
It's always exciting when you have an item that costs you less than, $5 that you're turning into almost $400. That's like free money almost.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. I was like, this is gonna be a great week.
How is this not illegal?
Right.
But it's not. not.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, I haven't heard your like biggest flip story. Do you mind?
Oh, you
telling
got
us?
to tell that story.
It's like,
Yeah, we have a couple of interesting ones.
Mhm.
My favorite one. I love history. I love American history.
Okay.
And we go to garage sales. We love doing estate sales.
Oh yeah.
And I went to an estate sale once, and I found a bunch of vintage jerseys, which was really cool, like basketball, football jerseys.
Wow.
But I always, I'm a teacher, and I like stationery, I like books, I like media, stuff like that, right? So I always go into the stationery. I don't even know if I'll make any money, but I find really cool vintage postcards and I buy them. I find cool vintage stationery and I buy it, right?
Yeah.
So this one time that I went to an estate sale, I looked in an envelope next to the stationery, and inside I found it was about 10 photographs of 12. Okay. 12 photographs of pictures of when NASA visited the moon.
Oh,
And so and so I took them home, and I was like, man, these are so cool. They came with a couple of stickers from NASA. On the back it said NASA, it said Kodak on the back, and I was like, these look like really cool pictures. They look legit, like they probably came from NASA or something, right? So we went online, and
how much did you pay them?
Oh, I paid honestly I had a lot of stuff with me that day. And when they went through my things that I bought, which was like jerseys, I think I got like a stuffed animal, a football, and a bunch of stationery. I paid $80 for my entire bundle, right? We sold one of the jerseys for $100.
Yeah.
And
It's like
everything
else is good.
yeah. And so paid basically nothing for them. And we listed them on eBay when we got home for $250 for the whole pack. And within minutes it was sold. And we thought that was strange, right? So we canceled the order.
You did?
And we went in and started doing some research on it. And we found out those photos, especially some of the more rare ones, are worth a lot of money. They're easily worth over $1,000, some of those more rare ones. We have sold some of them already, not for that much, but we sold them for like $350 for one, $250 for another, and we still have some left. So that's been our favorite clip.
I probably would have canceled that order too. Be like, no, hold on.
There's a rare occasion where that's probably the best thing to do,
like,
no matter what anyone says.
Yeah, we definitely debated it, and we did feel bad, but we're like, wait a minute, are we getting swindled here?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was our fault.
Wow, what a cool find, though.
That was really the best find.
Mm-hmm.
And also typewriters and just like things that you don't expect to sell a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Things people want to get rid of, but they're actually worth a lot of money.
Yeah, estate sales, and like, do you guys go to rummage sales ever?
We've been to a couple, yeah. Those are really good.
I love those because it's like everything's right there, right? So it's like instead of having to go to like 5 or 6 different sales, you're right there, and there's all this stuff. Especially like here, like church rummage sales. We've made out so well, especially if you get there first.
That's true.
It hurts to get up early, but
Oh,
man,
yes.
it's worth it.
We find it funny because it's like we're not exactly religious per se, but we've been to so many churches just recently.
All the churches around.
All
here.
of the
We go to church on Saturdays.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's so many good things.
So we have a few viewers on YouTube. So one of them is Leslie.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know Leslie?
Yeah, we follow her on Instagram, and I did see you guys interviewed her.
Oh, cool. Yes. So she has a question for us. Where do you see your business headed in 2020? It's more for you guys.
For us, again, I'd like to grow our eBay business. That's always the goal. So again, buying power. So strategizing how we purchase to be able to grow. In addition, we do have VAs right now. So utilizing them because we've had them since May through Upwork.com. So we have the ability to scale with their help. So growing. I'd like to try Amazon merch and see how that goes. And then also see where your businesses are going as well. So her tarot stuff and is part of, I help her with those things as well on the back end. Again, I'm operations. She's out there.
Yeah.
So kind of building that up.
No, I know for me, predominantly, I'd love to shift my practice into including more events and parties, because I do a lot of online one-on-one work right now, some email work as well. But I'd love to get more events under my belt and make myself more available for people who are planning special occasions or corporate events and would like someone to flip cards and have that, you know, kind of like spiritual entertainment kind of practice in their shindig. So that's what I'm looking forward to pushing out there.
Yeah, so growth, like I'd like to see at least 20% growth by, I don't know, by the end of Q2. So that's halfway through the year, and then kind of readjust and see what I can do. Or if we've grown even higher than that, then great. What else do I do to continue to grow, or to at least maintain that and really get used to that as a norm?
Cool. So we have a tip from Karen Hill.
Okay.
Do you guys know her? So she says, girls hit the Seattle Library book sale, then go into rare books.
Oh, yes, Karen, I believe she lives close to where I used to live when I grew up. So yeah, she's Washington State, I believe. Interesting. I haven't considered that before. I'll keep that in mind.
Cool.
Yeah,
I would love that.
That'd be fun.
Thank you.
And then Leslie said, sounds good. I wish you much success. Can't wait to see her grow. We have another viewer, Amora Blessing. She says, she's asking a question. What are your priorities for self-care in 2020?
For me, sleep. Let's see if I can do it. If I can do 7 hours a day, that's doable, and I feel good at that point. Some people need more. Some people need 9 or 10.
I'm a 9 or 10er. I need more sleep.
Yeah. If I can get 7 hours most days, I'll be good. So that's mine. Yours?
Mine is keeping some sort of regularity with taking my meds, because I have a thyroid stuff, and I'm so bad about my compliance with my medication is terrible. So for me, it's just staying on top of that and taking care of myself, so that I can actually have the energy and the stamina to do this work that we're doing. Yeah.
And that's my best friend. So she's basically calling us out like, so what are you going to do about that self-care?
I
know! So just so everybody knows.
No, and you gave very serious answers.
There's the answer.
But she's holding you accountable, so that's awesome. Everyone's watching, guys.
Yes.
So a question, you're very active on Instagram, which we absolutely love. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being so active.
Yeah.
We watch you very persistently, both on your posts and your stories. And we've even seen, we've seen you featured in there as well. Abby, we I don't know if we're currently following you on your other accounts, but what accounts do you guys have available for any of your viewers to follow?
Yeah, so it's Vasquez Vintage on Instagram, and that is definitely reseller focused. So again, tips, the different things that we're doing, finds that we have, little hauls and things like that. We're on YouTube. It's a very small channel, but we would like to build it up. So it's just like, you got to prioritize things, and YouTube wasn't on the top of the priority list. But in the future, that's another thing that we'd like to get into a little bit more. So we're Vasquez Vintage on YouTube. Abby is on Instagram at AV. So Abby Vasquez. So what is it?
AV Tarot Reading on Facebook, on Instagram. That's my website, as well as avtarotreading.com, and as well as YouTube. So I have all of the main ones there as well.
Yeah, and then we have a customer facing Facebook page. So it's Vasquez Vintage on Facebook, and we kind of keep people interested that are interested in buying, like kind of what's new, what's been posted recently, and stuff like that. So that's what we're on right now.
Awesome, thank you for sharing that. And how do you think, or do you think that social media plays a role on your sales, on your growth as a business, or how does it play a role?
Yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't say that it is right now for sales, but it's great for us so far for buying things. So sometimes people have bulk items that, they hear we're interested, they'll reach out, or they'll send our name to someone that they know. So it's great for networking, for purchasing. In addition to just the community. So again, having other people to bounce ideas off of and just be a part of a community is huge for reselling, for having a small business generally. So you never know who you might meet, or who may have some suggestions. I learn so much from other people all the time, every day. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? It's just, so I wouldn't say sales right now, although if we made a page that was just for posting things that we have for sale. I bet it would help. I just haven't tried that yet, so I can't speak on it currently. What do you think?
I'm a firm believer that success doesn't happen in a vacuum. So we need other people, we need community, we need each other to get anywhere that we're wanting to go. Yeah. As much as we'd love to be, think we're conquerors and can do it by ourselves, you can't. And so having our social platforms, yes, it's social, yes, it's networking, yes, it's also opportunity, it's ideas, it's extra strategy, it's more education, so it's market research in addition. So there's so much to it. Not necessarily like the dollar figure attached to it, but there's a dollar figure attached long term that's you can't overlook it. So
agree. Anyone that doesn't have an Instagram at least should get one.
Yeah.
At least. What do you think
that's
about
how
that?
we connected, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's certainly helping in one way or the other.
What would your answer be to that question?
Social? You're the social queen. I think it's extremely important, and I think you're doing a fantastic job on your Instagram channels. Yeah, we have yet to look at all of your social media, but definitely check out your Instagram all the time. Yeah. And I think we're at a point right now in social media where you have this feeling that it's going to take you somewhere good, but you're not going to really know until the future gets here. Yeah. What it's actually going to do. But I think our instincts are right. I think documenting everything, like what Gary Vee says. And sharing, and actually when we're doing that, we're giving, right? We're giving a lot of our value to the world. Yeah. And of course that's going to come back, I think, in times of infinity. So those are our thoughts on that. Yeah. We got a couple of updates. Let's see. So Karen says, man, I got to have my sleep and I saw Melissa up at 1:30.
Yep.
Guilty. Amora says, can you talk about the art event on Wednesday? And then Leslie has some advice. She says, never underestimate where your sales come from. Oh. Your buyers are coming from your Instagram. You just don't know which ones.
Oh,
good advice. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. Maybe I haven't seen it all. I definitely will keep that in mind. As for the event, so Raw Artists is a global group of folks that highlight local and independent artists of all kinds. So people who make jewelry, people who do makeup, painters, dancing, fashion, big on fashion. We got in on the craft area for our candles. So they're having a local show on Wednesday, the 11th, here in Seattle. And so we'll be showcasing both Abby's tarot reading and our candles. So we have a dual booth. And I've always been into art and things like that. So I'm just excited to be a part of it. As one of my favorite things to do before reselling was either drawing or going to art galleries, being a part of seeing glass blowing happening and things like that. So I just love anything like that. And so just to be a part of it is amazing. So that is this Wednesday at 7. So that's what that is.
So many people.
Do you guys want to share a location at all?
Yeah, it's at Club Sur, SUR, and it's in the south of downtown, so the Soto district. And it's on rawartist.com if you guys want to come. Also, we'll be posting a lot on Instagram, so you can kind of see the behind the scenes of what we're doing. Hopefully, we're not sweating too much. Just a little bit nervous. And again, it's a nightlife type of event. So it's 21 and over, and it's out of my element, and we've been talking a lot about if we're nervous about it, do that. Whatever scares us the most, go that way. So the opposite of what we were taught when we were younger, which is mainly to stay alive. But, but now that we're in small business, it's if that scares you the most, figure out why later, but go. So that's what we're doing.
We just came up with a little saying a couple days ago, oh, there's a fire over there. Let's jump in it.
So you're going to see a lot of that from us, and it's to push our growth.
That's really shifting your mindset.
Yeah.
You got to do that, right?
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, we want to end with a last question. What would be one tip that you would give to new resellers and also people who have been hustling? What would be a tip?
Mine would probably be to do. So again, action. So feel free to do research, because that would be the second one. Learn, do research. But the very first thing is once you've got an idea, find out how and do something. Do it because the momentum builds up. You know, you never know. Maybe you talk to someone or you open an account. You thought about doing eBay. Go ahead and sign up. It's free to sign up. Just get your email started. Open an account. Like, do something towards that, and you'll be amazed at what happens from there. What would be your big one thing?
Perpetual learning, being open to it. Success leaves clues. Learn from other people who are doing what you want to do, and then also know how to do your research. So it's like we've noticed how some people don't know how to do like the comps lookup while they're at the store, and I feel like that is vitally important to know if this thing that you're picking up is going to actually sell for you or not, and then kind of like realistically set your expectations on how much it's going to go for. So that to me would be like my big one.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Abby, just because you brought that up, would you mind giving a quick little tip on that? Like, do you just go on eBay or Poshmark? Where do you look for your prices?
Predominantly it is on eBay, and it's their sold section. So when you, like, if I found a pack of cards that I want to see how they will go, I look up that particular artist or that deck or whatever the title is in eBay, and then switch it over to the solds
In the filters
so that I can see buy it now, what it sold for, how much it sold for, and when. Because if it sold last September, I really don't want it, because I'd like to have something that moves actually pretty quickly. Or if it only sold, like one item sold for $100 and they normally sell for like 20, like that's where my realistic expectation needs to be, is that this is probably going to go for about 20-ish instead of the 100 that I thought I could get out of it. So it's just keeping your expectations realistic and knowing actually how to do the research, so you know that the stuff that you have is in demand and will actually move.
Yeah. So eBay is a great resource. So again, you search it, then with the results, just filter by sold, and then look at the price based on what it sold for and when, and kind of decide from there. What we like to do also, just on top of that, is we like really study the sell-through rate. So if there's like 2,000 available and only 2 sold, for me that tells me it's going to be long tail, unless I drop the price really low, and that's not my goal. So people need to know what their goals are, right? But for us, we want a higher price point, and we want to sell it quick. So usually it doesn't go hand in hand. People want to sell things quick for cheap, or they want to hold on to it and get a lot of money. I'm trying to do a little bit of both, all in one. So again, just look at the sold amounts. That's data that you can actually use. So.
Wow. So this hour has been just full of information, and it was really great to get to know both of you, during this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time. And also to Jadis, like, thank you so much for sharing what he had to share. We learned from him. He's 13. That's just amazing. So we look forward to keeping this relationship going with you guys. And thank you so much. We're so thankful that you met with us today. Do you want to share your contact information, your Instagram handles?
Yeah, so we love to help. We love to contribute to the community, because people have helped us along the way, and we find it fun to teach and learn. So a give and a take. So if you have any questions, reach out at Vasquez Vintage on Instagram is the best place to reach us regarding anything. And we also bulk buy shoes, so come hit us up. If you have a bulk amount of shoes, we can talk price from there. But and then Abby
is AV Tarot Reading on Facebook. I also buy tarot cards, so if you're outsourcing and you run across tarot, let me know. I will most likely buy them from you, because I want them. I'm also in the process of developing a pre-loved tarot market on Etsy. So I'm sourcing vintage. I'm sourcing cards. I'm sourcing everything related to the tarot field. So
thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you so much to A Reseller's Passion, Karen Hill, Amara Blessing, and I think there's one more. Oh, that's it, for joining us today. And everyone, Reseller's Passion she said here, walk through the fear, and that she truly enjoyed this. Karen Hill says, thanks, girls. And Amora Blessing says, congratulations, you'll have a great time at your raw event. So
all right.
I think that's it for this episode. Thanks for sharing your time with us, and we look forward to seeing your growth, and we're going to keep following you, and yeah.
Same to you. Thank you so much. It's been exciting, and it's been a pleasure, and we'll keep following you guys. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful Saturday.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.